program at the time. They didn't go away, and there are people just like them today, but there is no safety net for those folks so that they can afford that SOR room and have a roof over their head. So we've never revisited some of those policy decisions. Yeah.
Did you say something about the relation of state money to county and city money when the property value is falling away? Does that mean there's a reduction of property taxes on for local government, and what is the effect of that, and how is property taxes reduced, and how does the county treasurer do with that? What happens when taxes given that the property values decline?
I'm not an expert on that, and I was introduced to your county treasurer. She might want to answer the question better than I can, but there are several things going on in terms of monies flowing through to local governments. One is that revenue sharing money, state money that flows to local communities in the form of revenue sharing, has been frozen for a number of years and has not been increased. And so local units of government, we work closely in a coalition with the Michigan Municipal League, and you know, they tell us local units of government have, you know, they've laid off police and firefighters, they've closed senior centers and rec centers and all kinds of things because of this loss of dollars. In terms of the property tax and the lowering of values, that's a real issue. Proposal A has held those, has capped those taxes, and so local units of government aren't able to capture the full worth of those properties, and now as they're falling, it's really even more of a problem. The legislature is looking at something called a pop-up tax, which would essentially, if you sell your house, you know, the taxes have been capped, you sell it and then the taxes go up to what they would have been. And that, they're talking about, you know, continuing that restriction, which would again deprive local units of government revenue. Have I explained it right? That's, like I said, I'm not an expert on that, if you want to add to that.
Well, I would just say one thing. I would echo what Sharon Park said about the structural deficit and the graduated income tax. And if we could give her another round of applause. I came to my but I think we all agree that the property taxes in many ways are regressive, and in Michigan they're very high. And people are experiencing an increase in their property taxes. At the same time, you're not getting any increase in services. Whereas a graduated income tax would be much fairer, and we really should start it above the poverty level, because all of us pay for the services through our property taxes, because county government is your government of last resort. Our general fund budget is about 70 to 75% general fund budget is property taxes. So the issue really is, in this county, and I don't know how it breaks out in other counties, but in Washtenaw County, about half of our properties right now, the taxable value and the assessed value is the same. There's no gap any longer. So about half the people will see their taxes drop, and over the next 2.5 years, that'll be about $28 million loss in a $104 million budget. So it's a huge loss. At the same time, the other half of the people, while their values are coming down and they can't sell their homes and they can't get out of underneath a mortgage or refinance, they're still paying an increase this year of 4.4%. So I want to echo the graduated income tax, and I really want to echo what she said about term limits, because our folks in Lansing really don't have fundamental financial education about how things work or how things might be changed. And they react to people complaining about their general property taxes by saying, well, we'll eliminate the pop-up, we'll make it so that your values can only go down and never go up. I mean, that's legislation that's introduced as well. And all of us are in this together. I mean, either we're going to see people in poverty and they're going to be homeless and we're going to be paying for them in a lot of other ways in our society, or we're going to be
time we need to wrap up, but I'm happy to, you know, I can't stay, I need to go back to Lansing, but you have our number in the packet. I'm available if people want to call me, and
Can I just make one suggestion?
sure.
We have a lot of time, but this year is probably the best year to get some change in substantive reform in the correctional system, the criminal justice system. And if you want to go to a website that will give you a huge amount of information and ways to reform it, you want to go to capital CAPPS, CAPS. And they have wonderful information there on a program that would do a great deal to change the imbalance in the correctional.
They've done a lot of really good work on this. They're really the experts. So,
Can you give me a 2-word statement about Ishmael Ahmed?
very committed.
What has he done? Huh?
I had a reporter ask me that question Friday, and I think
Say who he is.
Ishmael Ahmed is the director of the Department of Human Services, and he's been in the job about 18 months. And I said when he came into the job, reporters called me when the governor appointed him, and I said, you know, he's got just a daunting task ahead of him, and there's nothing easy about that job. The department is really challenged, and I think it still is, and I think he is deeply committed to issues of poverty. I think his hands are tied in 10 dozen different ways. He's lost experienced staff through early retirements. His budget continues to be cut. His focus right now is very, very solidly on child welfare because of a major lawsuit and the settlement. So I don't have a sense, I know morale in the department is terrible. And I don't attribute that to him. It's been terrible for a long time. Those workers have huge caseloads. I wouldn't want their jobs for anything. So that's kind of my take right now.
Thank you.